All right, y'all, we're going to take a look at this boudoir photography business today. See if we see that it has BSS, aka boudoir search sameness, with these two Google searches here. And we're back here in the GBC universe where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, aka full spectrum intent capture. If you want more info on that, yeah, somewhere, pin post, pin video on the profile. And it's our North Star because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. Those that are rising, they're probably bringing in peeps from the entire intent ladder, the intent spectrum. High intent here on the left to low intent way over on the right. Here we talk about the highest intent peeps, Google search, social media search, searching right now for boudoir photo shoot in our city. That's where we talk about BSS. All the way at the other end, those are interruption ads like Facebook, Instagram. It's our other brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, where we talk about BLCS. And right now over there, we're only working with boudoir photographers spending more than 10 grand a month on boudoir Facebook ads. So we're focusing on the two intent extremes right now. So here we're talking about BSS, which is boudoir search sameness. As when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google. 0 slots means if we're not on page 1, we basically don't exist. We're on page 2 or deeper. And we already know that approximately 80% of Google searches never go past page 1. So that's the bulk of the market, that's most of the market. And if they have zeros, basically if we're in 0 slots on page 1, we're basically invisible and we're going downhill pretty fast. 1 slot on page 1, Google is not good enough either, because every other boudoir photographer on there is also going to have most likely 1 slot. So, if there's 10 organic slots per Google, search page, the a buyer is just going to be clicking on everyone's website, contacting everyone, price shopping us against literally everyone, and as a result, we're actually going to, we're actually going to not stand out, be price shopped. People probably go to the lowest bid, all things like that. So boudoir search sameness, no bueno. We also know that 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google is not normal. Yeah, it's not normal to have such few number of slots for ourselves on page 1 of Google. Extremely common, but not normal. This is actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. There's 2 deeper root causes. One, basically everyone knows about, market saturation, and another one, basically nobody knows about, the false belief of page 1 equality. So first, market saturation, that's someone getting a new iPhone, then they're throwing up their Google My Business profile saying they shoot boudoir. Now they got a website saying they shoot boudoir, saturating the market. Or someone gets a new camera, now they're posting the mom groups saying that for boudoir photo shoots. So it's more sellers to the same number of buyers, driving down the price for everyone. And usually this results in other boudoir photographers kind of getting kicked out of the market, going bankrupt, closing down shop. Now, basically everyone knows that. And also a big thing that happened with that was COVID. A lot of people lost their jobs still to earn money, became boudoir photographers because everyone's got a great camera on their phone, on their cell phone. And so that was another, supply shock, seller shock, way more sellers to the same number of buyers. It was when COVID happened. Now, the not currently very known false belief of page 1 equality, that belief is that kind of every boudoir photographer gets, 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And, maybe we had our website ranked on page 1 of Google, but then more boudoir photographers came in, kicked us down to page 2, and like, oh, that's simply that's simply how it is. Kind of just we simply gotta take what Google gives us. Hopefully that other person closes down and deletes their website so Google can maybe pull us back onto page 1. But it's kind of out of our hands. That's the belief of page 1 equality, whereas every boudoir photographer gets, either 0 or 1 slots on page 1, and that's simply how it is. But that's a false belief. I know that's a false belief because I went from 0 out of 10 slots on Google page 1 search to 9 out of 10 slots Google page 1 search in 10 days. Why? Because I knew page 1 equality is a false belief. And my hypothesis was Google would give me as many slots as I want, page 1 slots, as I wanted to put in the effort to acquire for whichever keywords I want to put in the effort to acquire them from. So that's exactly what I did, which we'll see those results in, whatever, 2 or 3 more pictures. So page one equality, false belief. We also know that boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness, so having either 0 1 slots page one on Google, is a disappearing boudoir photographer. Because look, if you got 0 slots on page one, we already know approximately 80% of Google searches do not go past page one. So we're invisible to 80% of the marketplace. So yeah, we're definitely disappearing. For one slot on page one, we're looking the same as everyone else. We're price shopped to death. We're disappearing as well. And this is kind of the canary in the coal mine, where BSS causes disappearing boudoir photographers, and basically all disappearing boudoir photographers also have BSS, what kind of is foreshadowing for the eventual disappearance of the entire boudoir photography business. So it's the canary in the coal mine. So we got to solve first. We got to stop the bleeding here. And luckily, we have a solution, because we now have learned through extensive testing that BSS is treated with social search saturation. This is our S cubed methodology. We invented it. You cannot get this solution from anybody else. And social search saturation is exactly what it says. We saturate social search with the highest intent search terms to show up there and kick everyone else out. These are kind of like, the smaller rivers that feed into the Amazon. And kind of when we do that successfully, that flows down into the Amazon, flows onto Google. And many times Google will start giving us more and more page one slots for those more and more keywords we're ranking for in social search. So it's called social search saturation S cubed methodology. We want to be saturating social search at all times, because if we're not, someone else in our city probably is. If nobody is, then we got the first mover advantage to do it. So S cubed methodology. The magical thing about this is the only thing I've ever seen for boudoir photographers that can successfully fight against market saturation and essentially render it, null and void. Let's imagine we're in Miami, Florida. Let's say there's a million boudoir photographers. Everyone's got a website for their boudoir photography business. They're competing for page one Google search. But let's say we take S cubed methodology to the max. We rank for the first, 300 slots for the highest intent search terms for boudoir in our city across all the major social media platforms. So we saturate social search. We're there. Can't find anyone until slot 301 and after. As a result, we're saturating the first 300 slots on Google as well. Well, each page on Google is 10 organic slots, and so that's 30 pages. You gotta go basically any buyer's gotta go page 31 to find any of our 999,999 competitors, because we cranked S cubed methodology up to the maximum. So, whose business is growing? Ours. Whose business is growing the fastest in the city? Ours, because buyers can essentially really only find us, because we're everywhere they look. Basically, we're gonna kick out, box out all the other competitors, and we already know, approximately 80% of Google searches never go past page one, so they definitely ain't going to page 31. So this is what S cubed methodology enables us to do for all those who want to put in the effort to achieve it. Now, once you're with S cubed methodology, we have page one visibility. We're finally visible on page one, even though if we had one slot there, we're not actually visible there because we look the same as everyone else. We get an added bonus to this where we're kicking competing boudoir photographers off page one, effectively making them invisible. They get kicked out to page two or deeper. And again, we know approximately 80% of boudoir photographers, or approximately 80% of Google searches never go to page two. They're page one only searches, which means page two and deeper is invisible, disappearing boudoir photographer, canary in the coal mine. Eventually, the boudoir photography business will disappear. So we achieve page one visibility once we overcome market saturation and page one. We crash through the false belief of page one equality. And page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So here we want to hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on page one for local search and city search. Because when we're at 3 out of 10 slots, I mean, we've kicked off at least 2 to 3 other competitors from page one. Also, compared to everyone that has one slot on page one, we got 3. People are going to say, wow, why is Google recommending this person so much? They're going to auto trust us more. And the very rare chance someone else has 2 slots on page one, well, we're at 3, and so we're always beating them. So it activates boudoir search visibility for us. And a boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. This is our micro universe. Here we got disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness caused by market saturation and page one equality. We now have a solution now, S cubed methodology. And as a result, we achieve page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. Now onto my results I got using this. So I was using this, I want to rank for the term BLCS Boudoir. And I use S-cube methodology. That's exactly what I did. And what I actually did was here, organic, we started spot one. We got organic slot one. We got organic two. We got organic. So slot three, me. Slot four, me. Slot five, me. Slot six, me. Slot seven, me. Slot eight, me. And slot 10 is me. So I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page one to 9 out of 10 slots on page one in 10 days. And this is through utilizing SQL methodology that we invented that cannot get us from anyone else. We invented it, we created it. And so this is the power of SQL methodology. So now we're going to look at this boudoir photography business. I'm going to check. So all this is based on the Google page one searches here. So we got these two Google searches. Let's check these out. So first one, we got boudoir photographer. Is that the first one? No, I think. Oh no, St. Augustine should be the first one. I got to do St. Augustine here. Boudoir photography, St. Augustine. St. Augustine. And there we go. All right. So let's see what we got here. Look for a supernova. There we go. So we got they got one slot. And all right, we got two slots here. Wedding wire. Yeah. We do not have BSS, so we got two slots here. That's fine. That's good. We perfect. Now we've not hit the GBC minimum. We want to have 3 out of 10 here, but hey, we do not have BSS for the search, so that's good. Now we want to hit the GBC 3 out of 10 minimum because that's kind of the only safe time we can say, hey, we're not going to disappear, we're not going to decline. We may not grow, but we'll probably at least tread water. So no BSS, but we're not hitting the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 here. Now let's check our Jacksonville, Florida. All right, so still looking for the same supernova. So we got one. And nope. All right, none of these are specifically about us only. We got 1 out of 10. So we got BSS for the second search at Jacksonville, Florida. Bigger city. So BSS is more common in the bigger cities, obviously, more keyword competition. So we do not have BSS for St. Augustine, Florida. That's good, but we did not meet the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10. But we do have BSS for the Jacksonville, Florida search, and we also did not hit the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10. So if you're a experiment with boudoir photographer, meaning you've done your local searches, your city searches with the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords in your city, and you have seen you've had BSS for at least one of them. So you're at 0 or 1 slots, page one Google search for those terms, or at least one of those terms, or you're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page one Google search for any of the local or city searches, any of those keyword highest intent with buyer keyword searches, and you've accepted the false belief of page one equality is exactly that, a false belief. So you're seeing, hey, I can actually take as many page one slots on Google search as I want for as many keywords as I want, and I don't have to sit around and wait and hope Google, people leave the market and Google is nice enough to put me on page one. And you're seeing that S-cubed methodology is the only way to get you there, actually get you those extra slots page one in Google. And you're liking the initial benefits, more slots page one in Google. You really like the second initial benefit, which is basically kicking your competitors off. You're basically getting to decide who becomes a disappearing boudoir photographer and whose business, boudoir photography business, starts to disappear by dominating page one Google search. You also understand market saturation, and you are, people eventually get more gear, the market becomes more saturated, and as a result, you are looking ahead, saying, man, AI is taking people's jobs right now. AI is going to be taking more and more people's jobs into the future as AI gets better and better. And you're like, man, I don't simply need these links on Google, page one Google. I actually have to fortify my page one position. So no current boudoir photographers in my area can ever rank page one. And also no future boudoir photographers that come from AI taking their jobs can ever rank page one. Basically, like I need to have so many links of my links Google wants to rank on page 1, that they're actually backstacking me to page 2, 3, and 4. And you're actually deciding that the best way to get all these links, again, as cubed methodology, get all these backstack of links on all these future pages, and really actually fortify your position, kind of like the levees in Nolens, Louisiana. It's kind of fortifying the walls against the ocean because the city is below water. So you're seeing SQ methodology is the only solution for that. And you want to achieve page 1 visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer, have boudoir search visibility because you need these things on your way to becoming the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. And you're also liking the future benefits of SQ methodology, or basically you understand that as we execute SQ methodology successfully every single day, we're building up these invisible thematic keyword columns that are like plugged into your kind of like your cluster, your brand name, your business name, your social handles names, kind of like plugging these invisible thematic keyword columns in. And every day we build that up, we're increasing the probability that you are the one recommended up here, the AI overview and search, because you're just building up so much authority, repetition, relevance, age, with all these different keywords, the size, intent, boudoir buyer keywords. And so you actually want, you want that increased probability percentage every day of being recommended here, because it also comes with increased probability of being recommended through all the AI searches, all the AI search apps. We're building up this like massive backend AI keyword search momentum. It's invisible, but every day it builds and builds and builds. And so that's ChatGPT, that is Claude, Perplexity, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini. These are getting more and more popular every single day, increasing search volume every single day, with Google standard search, basically decreasing every single day. And last time I did boudoir photographer search in a city, I used ChatGPT, returned me 3. I actually did a manual search with Google and Facebook, and dude, I found like 60. So it's like, man, we gotta find any way possible to get AI search to recommend us, and you realize an SQ methodology is the best way to get these invisible thematic keyword columns built around your brand, your business, your names, all that. You're also like the future benefit of, kind of building your large, well-known brand in your area, making it harder for market saturation to ever affect you approximately 8x faster, utilizing SQ methodology. And you also understand my current plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer for your city. So you actually you get all these benefits, kicking your competitors off page 1, and your competitors actually not being able to use these benefits, and you actually build up a large, massive gap in front of them, ahead of them, with these invisible thematic keyword columns, kind of keyword backend AI keyword mindshare momentum that you'll be able to achieve and not your competitors. And that's where you decide to be a first mover, adopting this technology, because you understand the converse. If your competitor is the first mover instead, then what actually happens is, they're getting all their links page 1, they're kicking you off page 2, off page 1, onto page 2, maybe on page 3, and fortifying their position so you can basically never get on page 1 again. Taking all the slots, turn up social search, so you're basically become unfindable. And then we're actually, building up that massive gap AI backend keyword mindshare way ahead of you, maybe to big enough where you can never even catch up. And what actually happens is, for you to compete, you would actually have to rederive SQ methodology, or actually derive it yourself for the first time. You would never actually be 100% confident you've derived it correctly. And then you'd have to equal our execution every single day. And then if you did that, you'd simply be maintaining the gap me and your competitor have already built up against you, because we'd still be executing it every day. So in order to close that gap, you'd have to out execute us, 2 or 3x every single day to begin pulling it back to like backend AI keyword mindshare momentum from me and your competitor back towards yourself. But again, you wouldn't have 100% confidence even putting in the time to do that, because you would never actually know if you've derived this technology correctly in the first place. And you're saying like, dude, who would even have 80 hours per day to do all this anyways? So you decide, screw that. You decide you're going to be the first mover of your city. You decide you don't want to miss out on this. So if that's you, shoot us a DM. Our DMs are currently closed. The hospital is currently closed to new patients. But if you want, but when we do open, no, even if you want to contact us, you cannot. Even if you want to work with us right now, you cannot. But when we do open the hospital for new patient intake, it will be announced. Shoot us a DM then, and then we will see if you qualify for utilizing our S-cubed methodology.